All right. What's happening, guys? Namaste. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. Hope you guys are having a great time. I'm sorry I was supposed to do a podcast with Haris Sultan, but for some reasons we had to cancel it on the very last moment. Haris was a little busy and then he requested me to reschedule the date. So I promise you, I'll get him on the podcast. We will be discussing his book, The Curse of God, Why I Left Islam. I have a lot of questions to ask. It's a fantastic book. And in fact, I have a criticism of his book too. So we'll address that during the podcast too. But then I thought, what do I do? What do I do? Because I might be heading off out of Mumbai next week. So I was like, you know what? Let's do a live monologue. And like every time in my last two monologues, I am totally unprepared. But like I did the last two times, I hope I managed to pull this one off too, because I hope I'm a reasonably well-read person so I can pull this off. So today's topic, which I had chosen, I had called it Arguments Made by Religious Folks, Their Inconsistencies, and Circular Logic. Well, I want to elaborate on this a little bit. So I have been an atheist or a skeptic or a dharmic skeptic, like I like to call myself, for no less than probably 17 to 18 years of my life now. In that, I have different categorizations. Obviously, I started off as a wannabe atheist. Then I went into hardcore neo-atheism. I actually was a proper Dawkinian atheist. Someone who thought religion is a mind virus. And then over the last 6 to 7 years, or probably around a decade, is when I start changing. I changing in the sense that not that I buy the religious claims, it's just that I don't look at religion the way Dawkins or Hitchens or that particular camp of neo-atheism looks at religion. I don't think religion is a mind virus anymore. I just think religion is an evolutionary acceptation, and maybe I'll talk about that and my thoughts on that on some other podcast. But I want to share my experiences today. I'm not the kind of atheist, who looks for an argument with religious people. I'm not that type of a guy. Personally, I like to be left alone. That my atheism or my skepticism or my disbelief has always been, as long as you leave me alone, I'm not going to trouble you. But that does not mean I buy your claims. If you ask me, they're bullshit. But it's okay. It's a free country. As long as you let me live my life the way I want to live it, I'm okay with you living your life the way you want to live it. And that's why I was never a vocal atheist in that sense. I never faced any problem in my life. Nobody was there to question me. Nobody was bothering me, so I was not bothering them. But every now and then, you are in social settings, you meet people, friends, you meet relatives, just normal acquaintances, and they make claims. They make claims, and the standard line that we always listen to from religious or to be more precise, people who are tied to ideas or ideologies or cults that make supernatural claims, if that is what we want to call it as of now. They make a lot of these claims that there is a God, or there is an Ishwar, or there is a Brahman, and there is an Atman, or there is a soul in Christianity. Obviously, these are unique concepts, and the Christian soul and the Hindu Atman are different concepts. But having said that, they do make these claims, and these claims are not fun. And then, if pushed, I do start having debates with them, which are very rare, but they do happen. And I find a lot of inconsistencies in these arguments. It's just, you keep on going around in circles. So the standard trope, every time the first argument you listen from religious folks is, how do you explain the complexities of nature? There are so many things. Look at this wide universe. How can you say that such a universe can come about without a creator? How can you say that? How are you so confident? And etc. etc. So you give them the argument, okay, there was the Big Bang, and how we have come about. There is evolution. And luckily, with Hindus, evolution has not been a major issue. Although I have to make this point, I've met a lot of folks in ISKCON. ISKCON denies evolution. If you guys, I don't know if anybody who is watching this live, if you guys have met ISKCON folks who think evolution is true, please let me know. At least I do not know of any ISKCON folks who think evolution is true. I mean, I've read their material and they do not think evolution is true. But anyways, let's move on to other important questions at hand. So I want to read something. I'm not going to take the name of the person or anything, but I read something very interesting on Facebook. So somebody had made a point. Both scientific knowledge and cultural knowledge, especially knowledge that emanates from India, are received by the common people in the form of Shabda Praman or Aptavakya. Aptavakya is basically verbal testimony. That is through trustworthy people or books. Both systems claim that their knowledge can be verified by using different means. While science can be verified using laboratories, Hindu claims or dharmic claims can be verified by yogic means. Yet modernity has successfully managed to portray the former as truth and the latter as persistent blind belief, etc. I have a huge problem with this statement, and I'll explain why I have a problem with this statement. The statement makes certain assumptions. What are these assumptions? There are a priori assumptions. This is what you call an a priori assumption. So the assumption made in this argument is that the claim that is made by the religious person and the claim that is made by a scientist are both done after the same amount of rigor. Now that's scary. And I'll tell you why that's scary. So I'm going to try this feature today. I just picked out an image from Google. Yeah, there we have. So let me know if you guys can see it. I'm going to try the screen share here. Let's hope it works. So guys, on the live chat, can you see this image as of now? If you can, just say yes. So the image you see right now is the scientific method as an ongoing process. So what is the scientific method? As you see in the image, it says make observations. What are these observations? What do I see in nature? This can be from one's own experiences, thoughts, or reading. Then the second step is think interesting questions. Why do these patterns occur? All right, that's a very natural thing to do, right? So you make these observations that say, when I drop a ball or whatever, why does it fall down in a particular way, etc., etc., etc. Then you formulate hypotheses, like explanations for those very things. That why is this happening? Why does X happen? Why does Y happen? Maybe this is the process. Now, once you've developed a hypothesis, then you make testable predictions. If my hypothesis is correct, it should be going on in a ABC manner, and then you'll get XYZ result. Then you gather data to test predictions. So you go out on the field, and anything related to that particular subject, you start gathering data for that. And then after that data, you test that data, you develop theories. And those theories are only developed after the data matches your claim. So there is a whole process involved in this. So I'm going to stop the screen share now. All right. So as you know, this is a very tedious process. It's not as simple as, I've made a claim and this is how it is. It ain't working like that. Now you compare this to the religious method. Now the religious method, okay, I'll give it to you. It follows step one. It does make observations. It does think of interesting questions too. It does formulate a hypothesis too. This is where the problem starts. Developing testable predictions. They do not make that method in a very refined way. This developing of testable predictions is not really accurate. And then where is the data when it comes to the religious method? Every time I've had this debate with religious people, especially in the Hindu pantheon, they'll say the yogi has the same claim. So where is the data? And I keep on asking them. They're like, oh, you are a typical atheist who believes in third party verification, etc., etc. It doesn't work like that. You need data to make a prediction. And a lot of times in the scientific method, when the data does not follow the claims or the hypotheses, they alter the method and they discard the hypotheses. But the level of proof or the burden of proof that we have in the scientific method is not the same, is not what we have in the religious method. So to say that both are the same, like I read in this particular case, it's outlandish actually. It is not only outlandish, it is fooling yourself. You can lie to yourself, but it's not going to help. And when I was thinking about this, I actually remembered a beautiful article. The article was written by someone I have a lot of respect for. By the way, the gentleman is not an atheist. He's a great philosopher, a thinker, and someone I have immense respect, and he's been on my podcast. He's Professor Makarand Paranjpe. So Makarand ji had written a wonderful article. It was on Swarajya magazine, and the article's title was Vedanta and Modern Physics: Why the Marriage of Spirituality and Science is Difficult. Now I'm again gonna share the screen for y'all, and I'm gonna read the last two paragraphs of this article. So please bear with me again, guys. I'm just experimenting this. I don't know how it comes out, but let's see. So there we go. I'm gonna try to share the screen again. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. So Professor Paranjpe says, the language of science, no matter how closely it may seem similar to that of spirituality, is actually mathematics with precise sounding equations and fixity of meaning. The proof is through experimental verification. The theory must fit the data. You see this line, this matters a lot. The theory must fit the data. The language of spirituality, on the other hand, is poetic, reveling in figurative language, open to 100 different interpretations. It is impossible, therefore, to collapse the one into the other. Vivekananda, in that sense, could not have anticipated the unity that the physicists were after in their pursuit of the theory of everything. But his speculations and assertions sound similar to the latter's ideas and conceptualizations. That is the difficulty with those who make scientific claims on behalf of spirituality. Such claims are not sustainable precisely because they fail the truth standards and demarcation protocols of science. At best, spiritual constructions of the universe sound similar to those of some scientists at times, but such similarities cannot be considered sufficient proof that spirituality is somehow scientific. These two paragraphs are beautiful. I was so impressed by these two paragraphs when I had personally read the article. I was like, these lines summed up the differences in the spiritual method and the scientific method perfectly. At least for me, they did. And when I try and chat with you, and we'll have a Q&A after I'm done here with my monologue, and I'm gonna push back. I would love for you guys to push back at me with this, but I thought this paragraph was just breathtaking. Now I want to go on to the other aspect, which was point 2. It annoys me a lot. Every time I go on Twitter or you watch the news, and this has nothing to do with one political outfit or the other. I'm going to share two standard examples. The first example, again, I'm really sorry. I'm going to be using a lot of screen shares today because you know what? I'm like a kid in the candy shop who just found a nice candy, I guess. So I'm excited about that, and I want to experiment with it. But before I do that, I want to address the Makarand Paranjpe thing. I'm really sorry I forgot to. So I'm going to use the line by Mirza Ghalib. Again, I'm not going to do the screen share this time, but Ghalib says, Asle shahudo shahido mashhud ek hai. Hairan hu fir mushahida hai kis hisab mein. Now, what does this mean? The translation is the observer, the act of observation, and the object under observation, they are all the same. So I do not know what constitutes observation. So, you'll listen to a lot of Hindus every time saying, my religion is the most scientific. By the way, every religious person thinks their religion is the most scientific religion. FYI. But my question to Hindus every time is that if you say, like I said, I just read the lines of Makarand Paranjpe, who said, no, Vivekananda was not following the scientific method. You can't merge the two. So if by the logic of Hindus, Swami Vivekananda, who I have a lot of respect for, I think he's a great Indian. He did good things for India. But my limited point is he was not a scientist and he was not following science. The point is, if Vivekananda was following science, then is Mirza Ghalib a quantum physicist? Do you guys think that Mirza Ghalib is a quantum physicist? I mean, his claim is very profound, right? It sounds like quantum mechanics, but the point is he's not. Just like that, a lot of religious people, religions make a lot of claims. Religious books are like, they have a mishmash of history, philosophy, poetry, and sometimes even some scientific claims in there. Just because they happen to have some claims that actually map with the scientific claims does not mean they become inherently scientific. To become inherently scientific, you have to follow a method, because science as we understand in the current era is what I had shared the screen. I had shared the screen with you a while ago. There is a method. Until you follow that method, you're not really doing the scientific thing. You're just making claims. You're making hypotheses. You're making beautiful philosophical observations, which are good, which is nice, which I agree. I mean, I'm doing a master's in philosophy. I freaking love it. I mean, I also have a lot of thoughts. Doesn't make me a scientist either. But anyways, now let us take step two of this problem. All religious people, it's not that Hindus do it or Muslims do it or Christians do it, Jains do it, everybody does it. My religion is the most scientific. How? Why? And then I find the dichotomy very weird. Their religion is the most scientific until the science agrees with their religious claim. The moment science disagrees with their religious claim, then science is bad. But at the same time, the same religious person is obsessed with proving their religion is the most scientific. Why? Why do religion? In fact, I always ask religious people, why do religions have to be scientific? Why can't you be happy with the claim that religions are poetic? Religions are emotional. Religions are everything but scientific. Poetry does not have to be scientific. Poetry can have multiple emotions and a lot of things. But why does it have to be scientific? I have never figured this fetish of religions are scientific. And in that, you will see the usual bullshit claims in India that, everything is sara kuch India mein hi hua tha. Baki to sab gadhe hi the. Everything is proved in India. And what happens is in such a claim, when you make such outlandish claims, you actually damage the real claims. Now, I'm going to share 3 examples via screen share. I'm going to share the examples of one genuine claim and 2 bullshit claims. The genuine claim, one genuine claim is going to be a Hindu claim. One bullshit claim is going to be a Hindu bullshit claim. And one bullshit claim is going to be a bigotry, basically a bigoted claim. And then I'm going to connect it to another thing. Now, let us start with one thing. A few days ago, if you guys are cricket lovers and you guys are into Twitter or on Twitter, Virender Sehwag had shared a very interesting tweet. And I'm going to share the tweet now. If you guys remember this tweet, he had said, a statue dedicated to the ancient Indian physician, Surgeon Shrut, at the Australian College of Surgeons in Melbourne. He's the first documented surgeon in the world and considered as the father of surgery and a pioneer of plastic surgery. Brilliant. This is a perfectly legitimate claim that Hindus can make when it comes to their ancestors being scientific. Shushruta Samhita exists. We all know about the Shushruta Samhita. We can go and verify it. We have books. We can actually go back in time and do, cross analyses. We can actually look at other books too that, this guy is making the perfect claim, and etc., etc. And the Shushruta Samhita, the interesting thing about the Shushruta Samhita is that it has step-by-step procedure of how to go about doing the surgery. That is science. But that is not because of his religiosity. He was just a brilliant guy who came up with this method. He would have done it even if he was not religious. My point is that. But still, Hindus can make a claim that, yes, that is an ancestor that was good. He did make a scientific discovery. Good on the Hindus there. Now, we go to what I call a bullshit claim. This is from a recent incident. It happened, there was this vice chancellor, and I'm going to enjoy this because I'm going to share a screenshot of scroll.com. So most of my followers, you guys are usually Hindutva folks. So I just did this to annoy you. Please, it's okay. So as you see, there was a chancellor at the Indian Science Congress who said Kauravas were test tube babies, claims Andhra University vice chancellor at the Indian Science Congress. Now, if there ever was a bullshit claim, this is what you call some high level bullshit. That's bullshit. Nothing beats that. And obviously you have our Pushpak Viman and etc. 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 I don't even want to go there. But what a freaking embarrassment. Pagal log hai ye log. And these guys do the greatest disservice to Indian civilization, because Indians can actually prove that they had some significant developments in metallurgy, like I think zinc and steel. Indians were really good at that. Even when it comes to sewage systems in old times, I think Indians were there. If you really want to read tangible claims, I have a collection of history of contribution of India to science and technology. This was funded by the Infinity Foundation of Rajiv Malhotra, where, if I remember, I'm just reading that there was a iron technology in India. I'm just reading on my library. There was traditional water management practices of Uttarakhand. Then it was architecture and civil engineering, Indian iron, Indian zinc. These in metallurgy, Indians had some real contributions. Obviously, you have the Bodhayana Sutras with the, Bodhayana definitely has the Pythagorean theorem way before him. And you have some major claims in math. Those are provable claims. They have followed a scientific method far before the Westerners did. The point is, they still followed the scientific method, which I just shared in a screenshot before. The point is, what this man is talking is bullshit. It is nothing other than bullshit. And we should be ashamed of ourselves when we celebrate bullshit like this. This is my problem. Now, let us go into another discussion, like another bullshit claim made by another leader, Ghulam Nabi Azad in India. And he had made a claim which has no value in science. Let's see. I'm going to share the screen for y'all. This is an article on NDTV, another favorite channel of yours, where Ghulam Nabi Azad calls homosexuality unnatural and a disease. I mean, I don't even know where to start with this claim. I mean, it is bigoted. It is not scientific. It is disturbing. It is everything that should not be done at so many levels. So this was a case of a Muslim guy who had a problem, and that problem uniquely stems out of his religious text. Obviously, there are multiple other reasons too, and this is where religion creates a mess up for everything in life. Now, I want to talk about specifically why I use this example of homosexuality. I'll tell you why, and I'm going to read 2-3 pages for you. So I just finished this beautiful book. This book is called Disgust. I forgot the name. Just let me check the name. I'm very bad with names. I'm really sorry. I read so many books, I tend to forget what the name of the book is. It was about the evolutionary reaction of disgust. Now, the book is called, man, I suck at this thing. Yeah, I got it. It was written by Deborah Lieberman and Carlton Patrick. It's called Objection, Disgust, Morality, and the Law. So the book basically talks about the evolution of the trait of disgust in us as a species, and how we have come up with it, and what are the behavioral patterns that stem out of disgust. You guys should read that book, by the way. It's excellent. It's an amazing book. Now, what I'm going to do is see how honest these scientists are, by the way, when it comes to homosexuality in this book. I'm going to share the screen for you while I'm going to read the 3 pages which these guys talk about. Again, I'm going to do a screen share and I'm going to read it for you all too. Excellent analysis of the whole thing, and I was so impressed by them. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start reading. Hope you guys are able to see. Is homosexuality an adaptation? As in, has evolution caused this trait to come about? So let us read it. Some evolutionary theorists claim that homosexuality is an adaptation, a feature of our species that evolved because it conferred a reproductive advantage. The theoretical rationale is that although individuals preferring as sexual partners those of the same gender are less likely to reproduce themselves, they would be able to provide help to those family members that do. This has been called the helper at the nest hypothesis. You see, they say it is hypotheses. They don't call it a theory. See the preciseness of the wording. For a female tasked with rearing several young, might there have been an advantage to having a child who won't reproduce himself or herself so that he or she can help raise the young? From the mom's point of view, yes, but for the genes in the child, perhaps not. The reproductive success of a gene is best optimized, all things equal, by causing the individual it is in to reproduce. The parent-offspring conflict inherent in devoting oneself to one's mother and her children is a problem for the helper at the nest hypothesis. And other questions remain too. If homosexuality is an adaptation, why isn't it present in every family? Is it context sensitive? And if so, to what context? Family size? The sex ratio of children? Is there even evidence that homosexual children help out more than heterosexual children? The answer to this appears to be no. And last, is homosexuality the best way to engineer childcare? Wouldn't finding another mate or cultivating friendships have been a more efficient and fitness promoting solution? Without answers to these and other questions, scientists are currently, or at least should be, given the dearth of evidence, hard-pressed to categorize homosexuality as a biological adaptation. But as we will argue in greater detail later, whether or not a feature is classified as an adaptation is of no normative consequence. Homosexuality, intersex, transgender, and other forms of variations in our sexual reproductive adaptations are forms of natural variation that result from the development and calibration of a complex system tasked with building itself from a single cell into a multi-trillion celled animal. There is no a priori reason why the distinction between adaptation and byproduct should come to bear on larger societal issues involving equality, morality, or legality. I had to read all these pages for all of you for a simple reason that it takes care of the issue raised by the great Ghulam Nabi Azad perfectly. This is what the scientific method does. See the humility in the claim there. They are very honest to say that we cannot with absolute certainty say that homosexuality is exactly an adaptation, because there are a lot of questions that would need to be answered, and they talk about the nest hypotheses. I'm not going to go sit here and explain the nest hypotheses to you. You guys can just go on and Google what the nest hypothesis is, and you'll understand what they're talking about. But that is the reality. And see how they end up. We don't need to make, because a lot of times, in I think in the whole same-sex movement, they started saying it's natural, it's natural, it is absolutely, it's an evolutionary adaptation. And then what happened was, I think even within the scientific community, they started using circular reasoning. Now, if you guys are wondering what circular reasoning is, I'm just going to explain circular reasoning to you all. Circular reasoning is a very standard error a lot of people make. So again, I'm going to share a screen for you all. This is what circular reasoning is. When we attempt to argue a point, we may have techniques available to us. One of these is circular reasoning. Circular reasoning is when you attempt to make an argument by beginning with an assumption that what you're trying to prove is already true. In your premise, you already accept the truth of the claim you're attempting to make. It sounds complicated, but it is easily understood with some real-world examples. Circular reasoning may sound convincing, but consider who will most likely be convinced by a circular argument. Those who already accept the argument as true are more likely to be further convinced. This is because they already believe the assumption that is stated. Examples, as you see the examples there, the Bible is true, so you should not doubt the word of God. This argument rests on your prior acceptance of the Bible as truth. Women should be able to choose to terminate a pregnancy, so abortion should be legal. This argument says abortion should be legal because women have the right to an abortion. Now I'm going to stop the screen share. We can use this same line of circular reasoning for, I think, a lot of times when the claims are made when it comes to homosexuality being a biological adaptation. Honestly, science is agnostic to the claim of this biological adaptation. Scientists don't know. If you were to be brutally honest, we don't know what homosexuality exactly is, but we don't need to make it a biological adaptation to say that the state has no business in telling two people what kind of sexual intercourse they have. Who the hell is the government to tell us? If we live in a democracy, people have rights and it does not matter. So that's what I was trying to say. What my whole aim of this monologue today, and I've already touched the 30-minute mark, and I don't want to speak more than for 30 minutes because then I want to talk to you guys and answer the questions. But my aim of the monologue today was that religious people are obsessed with this whole thing that my religion is scientific, my religion is the best. If you say your religion is the most scientific, that means you are giving an a priori advantage to science, that you are by default accepting that science is the game in town that is the most superior. So either accept that, and when science disproves your religious claims, be humble and admit that your religion was wrong. And if you don't have the capacity to do that, don't play this double game that my religion is scientific. Either your religion is scientific, and then if the science does not match with your religious claims, reject those claims. Anyways, no matter what, your religion is not scientific. Your religion is a philosophical treatise, it is a poetic treatise, it is a historical book, it can be multiple things together, but it's not science. Anyways, I have bored you guys enough. Now I'm going to go from the top and see what you guys have said, and then let's try to answer questions. Okay, somebody starts. That finance guy, he's here to troll me, but I also got a serious question. Let's see if it's a troll question or a serious question. Atheism is a negative doctrine, and this world is riddled with so much negativity around us. So how do you stay positive? Don't you feel scared sometimes? I think you got the gist of it. Cheers. Atheism is a negative doctrine. Yeah, fine. But what has that got to do with me living my life? I mean, I don't live my life going around everything. I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist. And, I just go around going, bah, 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 I'm an atheist. No, it's not like that. Everybody has a positive doctrine. Atheism does not have a positive doctrine. Atheism is not equal to atheists. Atheists have a positive doctrine. If you looked at my previous monologue, I think the first monologue I did touch upon this point where I said different atheists cling on to different positive doctrines. So there could be an atheist who clings on to Marxism as a positive doctrine. There could be neo-atheists nowadays in huge numbers are clinging on to progressivism and woke politics. That is their positive doctrine. In my case, my positive doctrine stems out of a mishmash of evolutionary psychology, a lot of Hindu philosophy, and a lot of Western philosophy too, the Greek philosophy. So I have what I call my positive doctrine is a khichdi all over the place. I'm sure most people have it, but in my case, it's a little more because I tend to read so much. But everybody has a positive doctrine. So I don't know why. Okay, when I was talking about ISKCON, somebody did confirm ISKCON walas deny evolution. Maybe it's their connection to the West. I don't know. Maybe you have a valid point because ISKCON did start in the West. But even with, I was reading Aurobindo's claim also. He also has an interesting claim of involution and then evolution. If you guys want, I can actually take that out too. I have the material, but I'll have to search it out. I can share the screen for y'all too. Anyways, let's see what is there. Okay, Uday. Hi, Uday. How are you? Science is pretty limited in providing objective evidence for subjective experiences, like, for example, evidence of exactly what one is thinking, although we think all the time. Okay. Why is religion giving you that answer then? See, if science is not able to answer X, let us create this scenario. Science is not able to answer X. Just because science is not able to answer X is because science does not have that rigorous evidence to make a point. Doesn't mean religion comes in and says, I have the answer. Well, what is the method the religion is following? Religion is just making booga claims. Even I can make bullshit claims. Even I can say, oh, science does not have the answer. Doesn't stop me from yapping. That's just yapping. That's not an answer. I hope you get my gist to that. Someone has said, please share these articles in the comments afterwards. Akshat. Okay, Akshat, I'll do that. I'll share the articles in the comments. Okay, you can find iron pillars at Dhar in MP. Yeah, I know. And यार सबसे अच्छा एग्जांपल तो कुतुब मीनार के बाजू वाला है, वो कौन सा आयरन पिलर है. I mean, imagine the technology. I mean, those are the things we should be proud of. Amazing metallurgy. आज तक हम फिगर आउट नहीं कर पाए हैं वो रस्ट क्यों नहीं हो रहा है. आप इमेजिन करो क्या उन्होंने चीज बनाई थी. I mean, it's fantastic. I said the Bodhyayana Sutras, that finance guy. No, I did not say Katyayana. I said the Bodhyayana Sutras. That's what I said. Usme hai. Check kar lo aap. What about Ramanujan? Yeah, Ramanujan was also an interesting guy. He made a lot of correct observations too. Adhyatma is a poetic, artistic, and open-minded jigyasa. We should let science and dharma have their own way to flourish and benefit. I agree. I think in that sense, you know what? The best solution religious people have been able to come up with the NOMA concept, the non-overlapping magisteria of Stephen Jay Gould. I think it was a good space for him where he said basically, religion deals with morals and all that area. It does not deal with science. But like I said, Gould may say NOMA, but religious people love calling their religion scientific. I mean, come on, haven't you had dining table discussions where there will be that uncle, beta, hamara religion to sabse scientific hai. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. So you want all of us to be like you, atheist? No, I don't want you to be an atheist. I want you to be a person who makes claims with evidence. And if you don't have the evidence, just be humble and say, I don't know. Maybe there's no answer till now. Why is it so hard for everybody to say, I don't know? It's a very simple thing. Okay, Uday, again, there's also a huge difference between dead mechanistic science like Newton's laws where science is accurate and science of studying living things where science is inaccurate. Again, just because science is inaccurate doesn't make religion accurate. If religion is making an accurate claim, it has to be replicated in a laboratory environment. Now you'll come back at me and say, some things cannot be replicated in a laboratory environment. Well, too bad. Till they are not, we can't accept them in totality. Then they're just hypotheses or claims at best. Well, somebody said, dude, are you seeing the comments? Well, I am now. Please start a Facebook Telegram group where we can discuss ideas. Oh, मेरे भाई, oh माफ करो, मैं यही कर लेता हूँ, बहुत बड़ी बात है. I can't do that. आप लोग चालू कर लो. Our tradition and some practice needs to be scientific. Very interesting thing. Bonnie, by the way, hi Bonnie. क्या हाल है? I don't think so. Tradition and some practices need to be scientific. I have always said that. कोई वैदिक यज्ञ करता है, कोई नमाज पढ़ता है, कोई म्यूजिक सुनता है, ओ भाई उसकी मर्जी है, उसको करने दो, तुमको क्यों कीड़े काट रहे हैं? As long as a practice, whether religious or non-religious, does not violate what I call John Stuart Mill's harms principle, I don't give a shit. जिसको जो करना है करो, जिसको जो मजा करना है करो. At least my atheism has always been this. My atheism is not that, जाके उंगली कर, कर उसको उंगली कर, उसको सता. No, I don't want to do any ungli. I want to be left alone. But yes, if somebody goes out of the way and says, bhai, mera religion to bada scientific hai, then you have a problem. Then I'm going to do ungli. That's what. This is my ungli to those people. To all of you who are watching who don't do any ungli to the atheists or to the science going around and make bullshit claims, you know what? Do your thing. In fact, I go and attend Hare Krishna Aartis also. They are evolutionary, evolution deniers, but I love the Aarti. I go and enjoy and I have the amazing prasad in the end. The prasad is very tasty, man. If possible, start sharing a little bit about good informative books you read like you just did. I have always done that, man. I share books all the time. You know what I'm going to do? Maybe every month ka podcast, what I can do is I'll take the stuff out of the books I read and I'll start sharing the screens also, and I'll read and I'll discuss concepts with y'all. Maybe that could be it. Thanks for the suggestion, Akshat. By the way, I read your emails, Akshat. Opinion on Sam Harris's distinction between spirituality and religion. Yeah, I have read his distinction between spirituality and religion, but honestly, yaar, kya hai? Because you know what? They are trying to box religion as a supernatural claim maker. But religion does not necessarily need to be a set of groups that only make supernatural claims. Because when it comes to Because I'll tell you the case with Sam Harris is usko Buddhism अच्छा लग गया. मतलब he likes a lot of claims in Buddhism. Now what he's trying to do is he's removing the good stuff from Buddhism and he's ignoring all the neo-Buddhist claims. The neo-Buddhist claims have a lot of buga buga. You have to understand the Buddhism that was at the time of Buddha and the Buddhism that is today is very different. Because वो हुआ ये है कि end में that's not good enough. And इसके बारे में, you know, on this also, actually let me see, books की बात आई है ना, तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ. Okay, look, I'll try to share this book with y'all too. मैं आप लोगों को बताता हूँ ये book. This is a must-read book. You guys should read this book. I'll just share the screen for y'all so that आप लोगों को पता चले. This book, Why We Need Religion by Stephen T. Asma. This guy has a lot of Buddhist influence on him, and he talks about how Buddhism of the Buddha and Buddhism today is very different. But you should read this book, all of you. Why We Need Religion, Stephen T. Asma. The screen sharing thing is awesome, man. It makes my life so easy. Anyway, so yeah, Sam Harris's explanation can be explained in a very interesting way. You'll understand Sam Harris's attempt if you start reading this guy's book. And I kind of disagree with that. You know, you can't just take out the things you like in Buddhism and say they are not Buddhist claims, even they are proven scientifically. So what? They came out of Buddhism, they came out of Hinduism. So give credit where it's due. I will give credit to Hinduism for the meditation, the sadhana, the yoga. I will give credit where it's due. It's okay. So what? It's from religion. You know, religion can say nice things too. You give them credit and you practice that part. You just don't agree with the supernatural stuff. It's okay. All right. Should one make it a zero-sum game, science or religion? I'm not making it a zero-sum game, Uday. The religious people make it a zero-sum game. I am humble enough to admit there are many aspects where science has no answer. The ones who make it a zero-sum game are the religious people who make this claim that my religion is the most scientific religion. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry to break it to you. Do you know Jainism believes in a flat earth? I don't know how many of you know that. Google it. Do not trust me. You can even see an institute in Gujarat that has a cash reward. 5 lakh rupiya denge bhai. Prove karke bata do earth is not flat. Jaake dekho, they are also victims of circular logic, by the way. So it's not me, Uday. It's the other side that has the problem. In fact, I am very humble. I will openly admit to many things I know science cannot answer. But just because science cannot answer it doesn't mean religion comes in and starts doing ungli. Kushal, what is Sanatan Dharma creation story? Man, there is no one creation story. There are so many creation stories in Hinduism. If we start reading the creation stories in Hinduism, we'll start banging our head on the wall. There is that cosmic egg story. Then in Rig Veda, there is this famous verse. I don't remember the creation hymn of Nasdiya Suktam. I mean, let me see. I'll quickly Google it for you. You see the Agnosticism in the Nasdiya Sukta of Rig Veda. You guys will be amazed. I'm just typing it very fast right now for y'all, and I'll just pull it out from the Rig Veda itself. We'll just use Wikipedia. Okay, so let's see. Let us do a screen share for this. This is one of the most famous creation hymns used by a lot of people. I think even Hindol Sen Gupta in his book Being Hindu uses this one. You see, this is the Nasdiya Suktam. I'm not going to read it for you all, but basically it's very agnostic if you read the point number 6 here. But after all, who knows and who can say whence it all came and how creation happened? The God themselves are later than creation. So who knows truly whence it has arisen? Whence all creation had its origin, the creator, whether he fashioned it or whether he did not. The creator who surveys it all from highest heaven, he knows, or maybe even he does not know. So a lot of Hindus actually like to talk about this particular hymn when we talk about creationism. But later day Hinduism does talk about the cosmic egg. And why does that happen? Because Ishwar ko ichha hui thi, desire, and desire led to creation. Obviously, I don't buy it, but someone says a lot of this applies to Abrahamic religions. More to Abrahamic religions, but I'm sorry to break it to you. A lot of Hindus do it too. In fact, I have seen more Hindus claiming Mera religion scientific hai than Abrahamics. Sorry to break it to you. I do sincerely fear those who get the urge of making a religion out of science. I don't know that whole scientism argument. I've never been convinced with that argument. There isn't one Sanatan Dharma creation story anybody said. Totalitarianism and absolutism from both science and religion must be resisted. Okay, science never is totalitarian. What does science say? This is the most probable answer. If new evidence comes and it is testable, we'll change our mind. Religion says this is the answer. कभी नहीं बदलेगा, कुछ भी कर ले नहीं बदलेगा. तो कैसे totalitarian? Those two things are not the same. This is what I'm trying to say. Then what is the main purpose of religion? Good question. The main purpose of religion, Bonnie, according to me, like I said, religion is an evolutionary adaptation. I think our mind evolved to crave groups, to crave large numbers, and in that sense, I think religion basically piggybacked on it. And religion is the greatest community driver and uniter we have today in the marketplace. So I think that is what religion's role is. Religion does that role extremely well. And that has been the main purpose of religion. Initially, obviously, religion, because we did not have science and a lot of these things. So, religion was not able to answer. Religion was able to answer a lot of these claims. आपको see what happens is emptiness आती है लाइफ में. तो आपको कुछ तो चाहिए ना जो आपको आंसर दे, क्या हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है. हमारी एवोल्यूशन ही ऐसी हुई है कि हमारे अंदर डिफॉल्ट कीड़ा है जानने के लिए क्यों हो रहा है. तो वो कीड़े की सोल्यूशन रिलीजन ने दी इनिशियली. अब जब तक देयर वाज नो अदर आइडिया इन द मार्केट, रिलीजन वाज रूलिंग द रूस्ट. एंड रिलीजन, आप समझो, रिलीजन हैज अ 5000 ईयर एडवांटेज, or at least in terms of science and religion, a 4000 religion year advantage over science as we know. और 3000 साल तो मान लो यार. So religion will always have that beginner's advantage. Science is just catching up. Water fauna, यार ये सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम होती है जो भाग जाता है ऊपर. चैट सजेस्ट 5 books right now. यार ये तो कमाल है. सजेस्ट 5 books right now. ओके, मैं मेरी किंडल पे जाता हूँ, रुको. Okay. I have suggested 2, Why We Need Religion by Stephen T. Asma, Objection by Deborah Lieberman. Let me see what I can select for y'all. Okay, you know what? You like this. I'll share the screen of my Kindle, my list of books. You guys might find it interesting. आपको भी पता चले कि मैं क्या पढ़ता हूँ. So as you guys can see, these are the books. So यार इसमें से कोई भी पढ़ लो. I would say all are amazing, and these are just the last books that I have read. As you see, my Kindle has 88 books total, and I have hundreds of other books in the hard copy format. I ran out of space, but any of these are amazing. I mean, you can read any of these. So pick any 5 out of these. Just take a screenshot, I would say, of these and just pick any 5. Amazing books. A lot of evolution, if you guys see. A lot of evolutionary books. I'm a kida of that. So I hope that answers your question, my dear friend. Greek and Indian philosophies have had several exchanges that are well documented. Yeah, I agree. And I have spoken about the book, The Shape of Ancient Thought. It is 1000 pages. If you want, you can read it. What if I know? Because you are a dharmic atheist, would you go to old temples just to appreciate the architecture? Oh yeah, beautiful temples. Kya temples in India mein. I love the architecture. I still remember, I tell you, I had gone to the Meenakshi temple. कॉलेज में था तभी, बहुत साल हो गए, 15-20 साल पहले. मॉम एंड डैड के साथ ट्रिप में गया था. I had the greatest time of my life. What a beautiful temple Meenakshi temple was. Southern Indian temples, man, they just take the cake. I think Northern Indian, क्योंकि Northern India में कोई temple ही नहीं रहे, सबको मतलब basically all the temples were broken, right, by the invaders. Most of them were. So we hardly have any old temples in Northern India. But Southern Indian temples are just out of this world. Just think about it. Itni choti murtiyan, and they would, make it exactly all of them. It was just beautiful. You can admire the architecture. And by the way, if I go to a temple, I will do the Matha Tekna also. I don't see that as an insult. I'm not bowing down to some divine creature. I'm just bowing down to my culture. I can pay some respect to it. I don't see anything wrong in that. And I know all the atheists who follow me, they'll be like, you are not a true atheist. Well, I'm not, maybe. This is what I was requesting in relation to books. Make monthly podcasts about just book contents. Thanks for reading my mails. You're welcome, man. Okay, Poonam is here. I have been told by Pakistani Muslims to listen to and read to Zakir Naik to learn about Hindu Dharma, as he is the greatest Hindu scholar who has read all Hindu texts. Zakir Naik is an idiot. That's all I can say. Kushal, you will find this amusing. Yeah, I did find it amusing. That finance guy, by the way, I am a Jain. So that finance guy, if you did not know the Jains claim a flat earth, please go and check with your elders in your house. The Jains claim a flat earth. News for all of you. Does Greek philosophy have its roots in ancient Indian philosophy, where the followers of Pythagoras atheists? I don't know if the Pythagoreans were atheists, but उसमें थे कुछ एक section था pre-Socratics में. There were pre-Socratics who were atheistic. But Greek philosophy ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि सारा कुछ इंडिया से आया है यार. Indians also took a lot of things from the Greeks. The Greeks also took a lot of things from the Indians. I think what they call monism in Greek philosophy is a Upanishadic thought. The Indians gave it to them. You'll be surprised. Astrology, Greeks ने इंडिया को दी. The Yavana Jataka, the first book, they call it the Yavana Jataka. Yavan basically Greek होता है. I know there are some ग्रह नक्षत्र things previous to that, but by and large जो astrology है वो Greeks की है और वो इंडिया में आई थी. We should resist appropriation of dharmic method and calling it the scientific method. It is harmful to dharma and good people everywhere. I don't know what the dharmic method is. SMSM, by the way, what an interesting name. Why don't you tell me what the dharmic method is? Explain it to me. Here's my question to you. As I go down, you can type down and explain what is the dharmic method. Samir Patel asks, what's your view on Scientology? It's my favorite religion. That shit is out of this world, man. When I read about that, I was like, यार मैं मेरी लाइफ में कुछ भी कर रहा हूँ. Scientology कितना entertaining है. Do you know the guy who actually formed Scientology? He was a fiction writer. So he was like, यार मैं तो स्टोरियां लिख रहा हूँ, चलो ऐसी रिलीजन बना देते हैं और लोगों को बेवकूफ बनाते हैं और लोग बन भी जाते हैं. क्या है यार, मानना पड़ेगा. Okay. Right. Again, as usual, the damn thing has gone up. Some religions have absolutist and totalitarian element in their core ideology. For example, Abrahamic faiths. Absolutely agree. At a fundamental level, Abrahamic religions are totalitarian, exclusivist, expansionist, all the words you can use. Indian religions are not like that. But Indians, the Hindus today, they are becoming exclusivist. I call them Abrahamic Hindus. Those Hindus annoy me the most because they are very Abrahamic in their attitude. Mubin Ahmed. Okay. Mubin, oh, that's not for me, so that's okay. I don't want to bother about that. Okay, about the book list. How about sharing your recommendations regularly as I know, I just had to read it as a blog post or via Goodreads. See, that means I have to write and I can't do that. I you know what, I'll just do these monologues where I'll talk about books. You guys have given me an excellent idea. और मुझे याद भी रहेंगी क्योंकि मैं इतनी books पढ़ता हूँ तो मैं भूल भी जाता हूँ. So this is a good thing. जो books जिस महीने पढ़ूंगा उसको लाके स्क्रीन शेयर करके उसके अंदर की अच्छी चीजें आप लोगों को बता दूंगा. All right. Did Carl Jung plagiarize from Hinduism, and can you explain his influence in the new post-conservative movement? Yeah, Carl Jung ने क्या plagiarize किया था? I don't think so. See, Carl Jung had read a lot of different religions. It was not just Hinduism. And he has, see, if you read anybody's work ना, आप में अगर real honesty है, आप जाके उनके references क्यों नहीं पढ़ते हो? Carl Jung ने जो भी claim किया है, जो चीज उसने वेदांता से ली है, he has mentioned it in the references. So how can you call it copying and appropriation? The man himself is saying it. कि हाँ भाई मैंने यहाँ से लिया है, तो उसको आप कॉपी कैट कैसे बोल सकते हो? आई थिंक दैट्स अ लिटिल अनफेयर. ये क्या हो रहा है हाल में, राजीव मल्होत्रा जी ने कई चीजें जो बोली है ना, उसमें जो उनको सुनने वाले हैं ना, वो चाइनीज विस्पर्स में है ना, बहुत सारी चीजें छुप जाती है. इनफैक्ट मैंने राजीव जी को बोला भी था, जब आप अप्रोप्रिएशन बोलते हो ना, आप उसको चोरी करके नहीं बोलते हो. यू डोंट से अप्रोप्रिएशन इज स्टीलिंग, You say appropriation is like an inspiration at times, and then sometimes they are not very honest. But what happens is a person who's listening to you, he takes it as a very different thing. So I think it's a little unfair to Carl Jung. He has taken some inspiration from Vedanta, but a lot of buga buga of Carl Jung was, his own stuff. Okay, Eastern religions has more open architecture in terms. Yeah, I agree. Kushal attributes seeking independently to science and the scientific method. Then he says religion is rigid, but he fails to mention the dharmic method that is designed to seek and evolve. Why dharmic method is designed to seek and evolve? But मेरे को ये बताओ ना कि वो scientific क्या है उसमें? उसके कौन से scientific claims है? अगर scientific claims है, this is the scientific method. I showed you the screenshot how the scientific method goes. Tell me where is the testable data of the dharmic method? If you show me the testable data, I will say dharmic method, scientific method are the same. But you have the burden of proof is on you now. You are making the fantastic claim. I have made my claim. I shared the scientific method. Now my counter to you. Show me the dharmic method and what is the method they follow. What is your daily reading schedule like? Harshit, I don't have a daily reading schedule. So this is my thing. I have restricted my social media like Twitter, Facebook to maximum 1 hour in a day. उसमें भी मैं क्या करता हूँ ट्विटर में आई डोंट नो इफ यू गाइस नो यू स्टार्ट एंड देन इट रीचेस आफ्टर 15-20 मिनट्स इट रीचेस अ पॉइंट इट विल नॉट शो यू सो जो उस समय में आया मैंने देख लिया आई जस्ट लाइक द आर्टिकल्स आई लाइक एंड देन आई पिक आउट द स्टफ फ्रॉम देयर एंड आई रीड इट दैट्स व्हाट आई डू as far as reading is concerned I try to read at least 2 to 2.5 hours daily. That's my fixed schedule. I will read 2 to 2.5 hours daily. As far as my writing is concerned, literally every time I've written for Op India, it has been Nupur, the editor of Op India, literally threatening me on the phone and saying, I will kill you if you don't write. And then I get under pressure and I write for them. I'm a very lazy bum when it comes to writing. What I do is I consume 4 to 5 hours of podcasts too daily. Along with reading 2 to 2.5 hours, I consume podcasts. So what I do is I have a 2-hour commute back and forth at work. So 2 hours of that time, I'm listening to a podcast. Other than that, obviously, when I'm taking a shower or when I'm doing my exercise, I'm listening to a podcast because I work out a lot. So those 4 hours of podcasting goes in shower, driving, and exercise. So I listen to a lot of current material too. And then I'm trying to, produce content like this monologue or talking to people. So this has been my basic schedule. So my reading is not I don't have a fixed time, but I try to get 2 hours out in a day where I'm going to read a book or in, right now I'm also doing a master's in philosophy. So I'm reading that material. It's not like I'm not reading, but I'm reading the course material. But this month, I'm probably going to read 5 books. I've already finished 3, 2 more to go. एक तो पक्का कर लूंगा, दूसरी भी शायद कर लूंगा. मेरे को confidence है. Poonam, I know you are a very well-read person. Just curious if you have read any of the sacred texts of Vedic Sanatan Dharma. I don't have a problem bowing down to the skills of artists. I have read. I wish I could take the camera up and actually show you guys how many Hindu Dharma books I've read, but it will be very weird for the viewers, so I'm not going to do that. But I have read Ramayana, Gita Press Gorakhpur Hindi translation, Mahabharat, Gita Press Gorakhpur Hindi translation, Ved, Gita Press Gorakhpur Hindi translation, and Griffith in English, all the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 2, one the ISKCON one and one the Ramakrishna Mission Swami Gambhirananda one. Then I have read 14 Upanishads, the translation by Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan in his book The Principal Upanishads. 1000 pages है वो मैंने पढ़े हैं. फिर अर्थशास्त्र, I have read 2 translations, Shama Shastri and Rangarajan. I don't even remember what other books I've read of. Yeah, obviously Sankhya Darshana and all the Indic Darshanas I've read, and Tattva Paplava Simha, Sarva Darshan Sangraha. I can give you so many names, man. I'm not claiming to be a great Hindu scholar, but I've read decent Hinduism. So I'm not talking out of my ass. I actually know a bit of Hinduism. Why you leave Islam? When did I join Islam? Huh? I have no idea what that question was. Anisha Khan. Do you think an ancient Cārvāka thousands of years ago would consider you as a member of fraternity? Absolutely not. Those guys were hedonists. I'm not that much of a hedonist. यार उनका तो काम था मतलब खाओ पियो मौज करो घी खाओ. Punjabi में there is a line, we call it "Tathe khunche gaya," that means go to hell kind of a place. I don't care what you do. I'm not that kind. But what I'm trying to do is, see, this is another thing that I want to talk about. Religious people can update their religions, use mental gymnastics, but भाई चारवाक has to be like it was 3000 years ago. वो उधर ही अटका रहेगा. क्यों भाई? We can also evolve, right? साइंस के साथ हम भी इवॉल्व होते जा रहे हैं, हम भी चेंज होते जा रहे हैं, हमारा मॉरल आर्च भी चेंज हो रहा है. Also talk about communism as religious faith, Allah less Islam. But yeah, everybody knows that it's a religion. Anisha Khan, Allah will punish you. Let's see, we'll find out. You Hindu leave India. कहाँ जाए हिंदू भाई? एक ही जगह है हिंदुओं के लिए, बेचारों के लिए. You should watch the South Park episode if you want to know more about. Oh, I have seen it. It is hilarious. Everybody, please watch the South Park episode on Scientology. And if you're not satisfied with that, Leah Remini. I don't know if you guys have seen that program, King of Queens. She was the main lead along with Kevin James in that. She was the wife. She has done a documentary series. She's just left Scientology. She was an active Scientologist. She has done an amazing documentary. Just watch it. You guys will love it. What are your views on DMT, ayahuasca, psilocybin, and how they influence religion and spirituality? I know this hypothesis of Terence McKenna, man. They called it the stoned ape hypothesis. You guys should read that. Terence McKenna and the stoned ape hypothesis. So they basically say is how our brains expanded and how even religion and religious claims, a lot of that stuff comes out of, people claiming a lot of those products. And when you have those products, you have these profound experiences, and then you try to write those profound experiences down, and a lot of religion is that could be possible, still does not make religion true. Again, kitni baar bola maine dharmic method. It is praman based method of extracting knowledge. It is the means of acquiring knowledge. That means of acquiring knowledge are constantly updated. Oh bhai, knowledge also has data. Show me where the data is. Praman is good enough. You don't need to teach me Praman. I can actually talk about Praman in much more detail than you do. Thoughts about Jay Lakhani. I don't know much about Mr. Lakhani. I saw a couple of videos of his where he was talking about how NRIs are amazing and Indians are just fuddus. So I don't know. I just stopped watching it after that. Anisha Khan, Islam is a scientific proven religion. Anisha Khan, how about this? I'm going to do a podcast with Haris Sultan. We're going to go in detail about the scientific claims of Islam, how Islam believes in a flat earth, and he states 10 Quranic verses. We're going to share all of that. We'll share the screen. I'll do a screen share of Haris's work. How about that? When Haris is on the podcast. Mubin, great to hear that you are mastering in philosophy. Can you please share some of your experience so far? Are you majoring in philosophy of science or continental philosophy? Man, you know how it is in this. My master's in philosophy is basically of IGNU. So IGNU's master's in philosophy is pretty much the first year is Indian philosophy, and the second year is Western philosophy. In that, let's see, if I can do a screen share of the subjects. You guys will actually know what I'm studying. So let's try. Okay, so these are the subjects I'm studying. You see, peace and conflict resolution. What is the philosophy of peace and conflict resolution? In Indian philosophy, obviously, they have Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita's philosophy, then Sankhya, Mimamsa, etc. Logic, obviously, logic is Aristotelian and Indian. How they develop, how to go about, the argument, the 3-step method, the 5-step method, etc., etc. Ethics, the philosophy of ethics. How do you develop ethics? How do people come with the arguments? And in that, what are the Indian arguments and the Western arguments? Epistemology, what is epistemology, etc., etc. Then philosophy of human person. Then world religions is the subject where they explain all religions. By the way, the most interesting thing, this one says Islam is a religion of peace, and Judaism ke upar they have been not very kind. Very interesting. But Islam is a religion of peace, bhaiya. Then obviously this one is just how to do research in philosophy, and dissertation work is all useless. So hope that answers your question, Arshad. Those are the subjects I have been talking about in philosophy. Anyways, so let's move forward. What are the dharmic method is okay. The dharmic method updated and evolved into what people are appropriating as the scientific method. Bollocks. Nothing. It's not that. What you people see dharma from the lens of science. Science is just part of dharma. Science can only flourish in a dharmic society. Science can flourish in an ethical society. Yeah, I could buy that, but what has that got to do with dharma? See, you guys want to claim, this is the thing. Then have the humility to accept when your religion messes up and when your religion makes unscientific claims too. Have that epistemic humility. What are your views on MBTI type developed by Carl Jung? I mean, I'm not good with abbreviations. Can you tell me what MBTI is? I'm not good with abbreviations. Akshit, if you may agree, then all right. Man, this thing is so irritating. It keeps going up. If you may agree, then tag share suktas like Nazdia with Arneen and Haris. Let's see how they receive it. तो यार ठीक है, तुम कर दो यार. वो मैं क्या करना है? आप ही कर दो. I think Mr. Kushal is not able to differentiate between Vijnana and science. Also, he explains science in the framework of Western way of looking things. Oh यार तुम लोग इसी में लगे रहो. ये Western है, ये Indian है, ये ऐसा है, ये वैसा. You know, these are just ridiculous arguments. Face the facts. There is no such thing as Western science and Indian science. There is a scientific method. When Shushruth came up with his plastic surgery, he followed the same damn method that Dawkins formulated when he made his claims, or Darwin formulated. The scientific method is universal. Everywhere, every person in the world, doesn't matter if he's of a Hindu origin or a Muslim origin or a Christian origin, when they make a claim, they follow the same method. So this is just a bullshit argument. I know you don't want to admit to it, but too bad. That's what it is. Vegetarians versus vegan. I don't care, man. I'm a non-vegetarian. उनको झगड़ने दो आपस में. मैं उनके फटे में टांग नहीं अड़ाता. Sorry, but Griffith's translation was quite wrong. Just look at 108513. Better read the translation of Padma Bhushan Damodar Satwalekar ji. I don't know, man. I'm not a Sanskrit expert, but you should read the Gita Press Gorakhpur translation. That's even worse. Kushal, you have a job. How do you balance that with masters, YouTubing, reading books, working out, family, enlightenment? You just have to be disciplined. I am a very disciplined guy. So for me, that has never been a problem. To be very honest, I am very good with time management. So if I'm committed, I have slots in a day. So I will do it come what may. And believe me, after doing all of this, I sleep for 7 to 8 hours too. मैं 7 घंटे तो minimum सोता हूँ. And I don't skip on my sleeping schedule. But I'm very disciplined. I have made my life very disciplined. काम भी करता हूँ, सब कुछ करता हूँ. And see, a lot of times what happens is अगर काम चालू है तो background में podcast चालू कर दी. So you know what is happening. कौन सा exam थोड़ी ना, test paper थोड़ी ना. तो वो कर लेते हैं. वो कुछ इतनी बड़ी problem नहीं होती. Kushal, the same Pakistani Muslims are now strongly recommending me to seriously brilliant Hindu scholars Mahesh Bhatt, Arundhati Roy. I am confused. मैं हंसू की रो, हंसते हंसते रो. वो करो. So what's your schedule of podcasts to come? I have no schedule, Akshit, and I really don't know what the next guest is going to be. To be very honest, because I'm so busy with my work and everything else, I really don't know. So what I can say is I basically have this method. In 4 days, I try to contact someone who I like to talk to. And sometimes I talk to people 1 month in advance because sometimes they are not available. And then whosoever comes, I do it. And usually my monologues are a fill-in. कि मुझे लगता है कि यार कोई guest नहीं आ रहा तो मैं monologue कर देता हूँ. Anisha is a troll. Ignore her, him, they. You are a gender fluid respecting person. Okay, what do you think of Arya Bhatiyam? Do you want to say that too is not scientific? Then one was written in the framework of Upanishads and Vedas. Arya Bhatt's claims were scientific. He followed the scientific method. I'm not saying the West came up with the scientific method. I'm not saying the East came up with the scientific method. I'm saying there is a scientific method. People follow it in the East, in the West. If you follow that method, अच्छा आपको scientific नहीं बोलना, उसको बोल दो देसी तोता. कुछ भी बोलना है बोल दो, मगर वो मेथड वही है जो मैंने आपको स्क्रीनशॉट दिखाया था स्टार्ट में, वो मेथड फॉलो करो। मगर रिलीजियस लोग वो मेथड फॉलो नहीं करते हैं। आपको जो समझना है समझ लो। What are your thoughts on Kumbh Mela and the vast number of ash-smeared Naga? Are they imposters or is some truth their madness? I don't know, man. नंगे घूमते हैं, योगा करते हैं, उनमें अमेजिंग फिजिकल कैपेबिलिटीज हैं which should be admired. बाकी उनको जो करना है करना, तो यार मैं नंगा नहीं घूमूंगा, मैं ऐसा ही बोल सकता हूँ. Why should atheists study philosophy? Not only atheists, I think everybody should study philosophy. Let me Google this article for you all. Why kids should be taught philosophy. That article was brilliant. I don't remember. My brother had shared that. I think that article with me. I think, yeah, my brother had shared it with me. I don't know, or I had shared it with my brother. I don't know. I don't remember that. This article, I'm gonna make a screenshot for you guys. In 2016, it was an amazing article. I clearly remember it. ये आर्टिकल आप लोग जरूर पढ़ो. Why kids now more than ever need to learn philosophy? Yes, philosophy. All of you should read philosophy. I think philosophy is the best thing to read. So just in case, देख लो, by Valerie Strauss, Washington Post का आर्टिकल है. Just Google why kids should learn philosophy. This will be the first one to pop up. ये बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल आप लोगों को पढ़ना चाहिए. It's an amazing article. Petrodollars have bought intellectuals to some point of them can produce research proving the earth is flat. I don't know about that. Both the method and the data fed to the method evolve. No point in weakening the dharmic position. Where it came from or who did it doesn't matter. Where it came from or who did it doesn't matter. Then why do we get angry with appropriation of Hindu ideas? Why do we complain about cultural appropriation if it does not matter? Actually, these things do matter. We should be proud of the things that Indians have come up with. Not personally as Indians, but as humans. कि क्या लोग थे, कैसे सोचा उन्होंने. That is not the issue. The issue is that the dharmic method that a lot of people want to claim it is there, I just don't buy it. If the dharmic method is the scientific method, the dharmic method needs to have the same data that the scientific method has. They don't have it. I'm not saying the dharmic method is not good. The dharmic method is the philosopher's method, which is hypothesizing, questioning, doing, question and answer sessions. मैंने आपको ये बोला, आपने मुझे आंसर किया, मैंने फिर आपको ये बोला, आपने मुझे काउंटर आंसर किया. वो सब चीजें होती हैं. बट द पॉइंट इज दैट डज नॉट मीन इट इज फॉलोइंग दैट पर्टिकुलर साइंटिफिक मेथड. और आपको अगर उसको साइंटिफिक मेथड नहीं बोला, आप उसको कुछ भी बोल दो, मगर वो दोनों एक नहीं है. मैं नहीं मानने वाला. The book that I mentioned above is in Hindi with the Sanskrit word. Do give it a try. ठीक है, मैं check कर लूँगा. That finance guy. Thank you very much. I'm going to avoid Anisha Khan. I'm sorry. Avnish Shukla, what is your recent view on controversy of coffee with Karan? Yeah, I gave my views on the Op India podcast yesterday. You guys can check it there. I think what happened to Hardik Pandya is terrible. I mean, I don't agree with that view, the views he had. He was an idiot. But यार हद हो गई है, उसके पीछे ही पड़ गए लोग. It is terrible. I thought it was stupid. और आज भी वो CNN का कुछ तो एक ट्वीट मैंने पढ़ा कि अभी वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कुछ इंक्वायरी करने को बोल रहे हैं. सब सठिया गए. मतलब हमारी कोर्ट्स का और कोई काम नहीं रह गया. अभी हार्दिक पांड्या की सेक्स लाइफ हम डिस्कस करेंगे. गधे हैं सब, सच्ची हम लोग गधे हैं. Why should atheists not study philosophy? Good. I agree with you, Poonam. Hey Kushal, can you try having C.K. Raju on your podcast and ask him about Indian approach to mathematics? I've actually read his books too, Harshit. I've read his one book. I remember Euclid and Jesus, and I don't remember one more book of his I read. He has this thing about he has developed a mathematical method in a different way, where he uses a lot of times the Buddhist method of pratitya samuttapad, which is co-independent origination. And he uses that logic and extends it to math. He's a very interesting guy, but to be very honest, देखो मैं तो इतना समझदार नहीं हूँ, मेरे को तो mathematics इतनी अच्छी आती नहीं है. But मैंने उनके material claims, I had sent it to a very close family friend of ours who is a scientist and a quantum physicist who is very good in math. I sent his claims to him. he was not really convinced by Mr. Raju's. But I would be honored to have Mr. Raju on my podcast, and believe me, I will not cut him off. I never cut people off. मैं उनको भी सुनूंगा with equal keenness, if you know what I mean. Intellectual property is different. My proper point is that many people can discover the truth regardless of geography, race. Obviously, I have no disagreement there. But what has that got to do with my question of dharmic methods, data collection? वो तो आंसर करो. Quillette, Aero नहीं, Aero है शायद अक्षित, Aero नहीं है. Marian West, if you can recommend some more. स्वराज्य अच्छी है यार. स्वराज्य has some amazing articles. I don't know why we underrate स्वराज्य. स्वराज्य में कई spiritual articles और कई political, especially Jaggi. I read Jaggi all the time. Jaggi is fantastic. I love स्वराज्य. ऑप इंडिया पढ़ो यार. मैं भी लिखता हूँ उसमें, कभी गलती से मेरे को भी पढ़ लिया करो. And I like Op India too. And what other thing? I try to read the print sometimes. I know you guys are going to be triggered right now, but I want to know what they are saying. नहीं तो समझ कैसे पड़ेगा दूसरी साइड क्या बोल रही है? वो पढ़ना तो बहुत जरूरी होता है यार. पता नहीं क्यों लोगों को एलर्जी है उससे. क्या है बात में? You read a lot of books on evolutionary psychology. What's your opinion on Western Enlightenment thinkers who were rationalists? Mubin Ahmed. They were good people, man. They were interesting people who made interesting claims. But let me tell you, a lot of Western Enlightenment thinkers have also read a lot of Eastern work. This is where, I mean, especially if you read Hume, right? David Hume. आप Hume पढ़ो और आप बाद में बुद्धिज्म पढ़ो, आपको समझ नहीं पड़ेगा ये क्या हो रहा है. I'm not saying that all of the claims Hume makes are all from Buddhism. It is impossible. There are many times I have made claims and I think वाह क्या original thought है, and then I have this habit, मैं Google करूंगा और पता चलता साला पहले किसी ने बोल दिया. It doesn't mean I did not think of that claim, but I'm not the originator of that claim. Somebody had thought of it. So it could be possible that Hume and many Western Enlightenment thinkers have come up with a lot of amazing original thoughts. But some of their thoughts are also inspired by the East, and unfortunately, we don't tend to give that credit, which I think should be given. A lot of I think Mubin. In fact, one of my regrets is the Mutazilas in the Islamic world. They are also finished. Imagine if there was a Mutazila movement in the Islamic world alive and kicking today, where the Aql versus Naql debate was happening. And people were reinventing Quran or using Aql in their life in the Muslim world and not the method of Naql. Can you imagine, Mubin, the amount of good stuff that would be coming out of in the Islamic world also? That's what I'm trying to say. We should take whatever is good from every culture. I would love to take good things from Islamic Arab cultures also, Western Enlightenment thinkers also. I just think everybody is overawed by Enlightenment thinkers. They are good, they are amazing, but they're not the only ones. I think the East has a lot to offer. The answer to the world's problem lies in a khichdi, in my view. It does not lie in either A or B. I believe it's a khichdi, and I try to read all of them. I am a sucker for knowledge. मैं तो सबको पढ़ता हूँ. Can you get some guests to discuss Marxism, socialism, and its economic social flaws? Honestly, I want to talk about Modinomics first. Unfortunately, मैं और Harsh Madhusudan Gupta, we are very good friends. Harsh is an economist, qualified economist. Harsh is also a very good friend. मैं हर्ष को फोन करूंगा, हर्ष अवेलेबल नहीं होता है. हर्ष मुझे फोन करेगा, मैं अवेलेबल नहीं होता हूँ. He has to come on the podcast because both of us have significant disagreements on Modinomics. It will be an amazing educational session, and what I'll do is, with Harsh, I will invite him because he's a qualified economist to talk about Marxism, socialism, and the economic social flaws. So, how about that? अक्षित एक काम करो, ट्विटर पे अगर हो ना, हर्ष को बोला आप कुशल की पॉडकास्ट पे कब आ रहे हो, उसको उंगली करना शुरू करो सब लोग. Avnish Shukla, belated happy birthday. Thanks a lot, Avnish. When I read Emerson and Thoreau for the first time, I thought they had come up with on their own. It was a couple of years later that I found that both were scholars of Gita before they wrote. Interesting. That finance guy, यार मेरे को बुलाओ पॉडकास्ट पर. I'm a CFA. और भाई पहले तुम इतनी तो हिम्मत करोगे अपनी शक्ल दिखाओ. तुम तो यार अपनी शक्ल भी नहीं दिखाते और तुमको पॉडकास्ट में बुला लो, कमाल यार। एनोनिमस अकाउंट हो, बुरा नहीं मनाना। मेरी एक पॉलिसी है, अगर आपकी लाइफ पे कोई थ्रेट है, आप अगर कोई, जैसे वो स्पार्टेकस था जिसको हारिस ने निकाला पाकिस्तान से, जिसको लोग मार डालेंगे, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू इनवाइट एनी अनोनिमस अकाउंट on my podcast until and unless they have a direct threat on their life. It does not matter how good your content is, how amazing you are. अगर तुम नॉन थ्रेटनिंग कंटेंट शेयर करते हो और उसके बाद भी तुम तुम्हारी शक्ल नहीं दिखा सकते हो, मेरी पॉडकास्ट पे मत आओ, मेरे को कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है। आई जस्ट फाइंड इट वेरी कावर्डली। मतलब मेरे पल्ले नहीं पड़ती ये चीजें। चलो, आई हैव रन आउट ऑफ ऑल द क्वेश्चंस यू गाइस हैव आस्क्ड, आई होप। So my request to you is, if you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask. Otherwise, I think काफी समय हो गया है और मेरा गला सूख रहा है. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can go ahead. But what I can do in the meantime is I can tell you the next book I plan to read. That's what I can do for y'all. Let me see. I am going to open my Kindle and yeah, it's a book called Hormonal. Let me search it on my desktop Kindle. Marty Hazelton. Yeah, ये बंदी है, इसकी बुक है, बहुत अच्छी बुक है. Hormonal by Marty Hazelton. It is an amazing book. I think you guys should read this book. It's an amazing collection. If you guys can, I would really recommend you guys to read this. I'm not able to find the book on the Kindle store as of now. Okay, I have opened the Kindle store. Just wait. Okay. I'm going to share a screenshot of the book with you. This is the book that I'm going to read next on my Kindle. Breathtaking book, because I've heard this female's views a lot of times. I saw her on a few podcasts and she was simply amazing. And I'm really interested on this subject. See this one. The hidden intelligence of hormones, how they drive desire, shape relationships, influence our choices, and make us wiser. Hormonal by Marty Hazelton. I'm going to be reading this book. This is going to be a cracker in my view. I am really looking forward to this one. Let's see if you have any questions. Why are you not a vegetarian? Because I like the taste of butter chicken. It's a very stupid answer, but that's the only answer. What's the difference between atheist and Cārvāka? Atheists are not hedonists. The old school Cārvāks were hedonists. So, do you mean new school Cārvāks or old school? So I'm going to assume that you're asking old Cārvāks and atheists. Old Cārvāks were obviously not like the atheists in the sense of today's atheism. Today's atheism has the benefit of thousands of years of moral and scientific development and the churn of different cultures, right? So you can't compare. Old school Cārvāks were basically khao piyo maja karo, jo karna hai karo, aur agar nahi karna hai to mar jao. It was that kind of a thing. So you can't compare. So neo-Cārvāks and atheists are the same, other than one major difference. And I think that is where the difference between myself and a lot of Hindu atheists and Western neo-atheists lies. Western neo-atheism has been inspired by what I call Dawkins-Hitchens syndrome, where Dawkins and Hitchens basically came up with the idea that religion is a mind virus. And the mind virus is a bad thing and it needs to be smashed completely. Although now I see a resistance within the Western atheism also, where Brett Weinstein is something very interesting. Eric Weinstein, the Weinstein brothers, they are coming up with the argument which I have always believed in. And in fact, I have had hours of discussion with my elder brother on this, who is completely in agreement with me on this one, that religion is a evolutionary exaptation. It has a lot of value in some areas, and until the value is not produced by religion, there was a need in the marketplace. The brain evolved to crave that thing, and religion was the first thing that jumped on it, and it became the market leader in that aspect. So in that sense, religion is needed, and that's why I recommended that book by Stephen Asma, Why We Need Religion. You guys should read that. I think that is a major neo-atheistic blind spot. So I would say in that sense, that's where I am different from the new atheists. That's where I'm different from Armin Nawabi, and I'll never agree with him. Until and unless Armin Nawabi and the atheistic breed, which is of today, come up with a new option, they will never find me in agreement with them. That's my way, actually. That is where I came up with. Okay. As per modern math, I can't read this. Ab haba is equal to 0 as per modern mathematics and Buddhism, but one Shankaracharya argued that Shunya is not ab haba. He did 50 arguments of that, so very basic objection is maths is false. I don't know, man. I have to read it. I'm not going to answer that question. I'll read it and answer to you. By the way, Kushal, thanks for recommending Elephant in the Brain. Finished it last week. Very enlightening. It is an awesome book, Mubin. That covers the whole thing. It was an amazing book. Why Buddhism is True. I've read it. Robert Wright. He has 2 books. You should read his book previous to that also. It's an amazing book. What do you think about the core folks and traditional, aka traditionalists on Twitter? Do you agree with them? I agree on some points with the core folks, but with the traditionalists on Twitter, you mean, right? Only the Twitter ones. They are pathetic. They are horrible. They troll. They abuse. They are the most nasty people I've come across in my life. All the people who abuse me on my timeline are all those Twitter traditionalists. Horrible. इतने unhappy लोग मैंने कभी मेरी life में एक साथ नहीं देखे. Anyways, guys, it is almost 11 o'clock here, India time. So I think I'm going to wrap things up. But I hope I was able to answer a lot of your questions. And if I have not, you can do this. You can email me. My email is in the about section of my page on YouTube. Like Akshit emails me. So I read all his emails. I may not answer them in detail, but I read his emails. Everybody who emails me, I'll read. You send me messages on Facebook Messenger, भाई मैं नहीं पढ़ने वाला, मेरे में capacity नहीं है. But अगर आप email भेजोगे, मैं email पढ़ लेता हूँ. और मैं जवाब क्या दूंगा और क्या नहीं दूंगा उसका मैं गारंटी नहीं देता, मैं पढ़ता पक्का हूँ. So if you have any recommendations about I should do this on the podcast or I should do that on the podcast, I will take it all into consideration, like the suggestion you guys gave me today of, doing the screen share about books and good excerpts from books. I'm definitely going to take that feedback. In fact, I love that feedback. I'm going to do this regularly. In fact, what I'm going to do is in my next podcast, maybe I'll pick up this book Hormonal by the author and I'll talk about that for a bit, and then we can have a 1-hour Q&A where you guys can ask anything and I'll answer all of the questions. So on that note, once again, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for bearing with me for an hour and a half. And if you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and tell every single Astika in India who claims the next time tells you that Cārvāka Darshana is dead, you tell them Cārvākas are alive and kicking. You just have to go on YouTube and Google the Cārvāka podcast. So on that note, goodbye and good night. Namaskar.